Okay, here we are in Burleson, and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Barb Kennedy, and this is my shop.
All right, show us around.
Come on in. So I started out with this tool and a table saw, not even that table saw, but this and a table saw and some circular saws, and I worked out on my back porch to start with. My husband Blake graciously has given me the 2-car garage and said, go for it, and then, buys me tools and up. So I was able to upgrade to the rigid saw, thank you, Brandon, and have been over to Rockler and picked up a few things, including that beautiful table saw sled that has made things so much better.
All right.
I've been able to purchase some more power tools. I've jointer, a planer. I have a router and a router table. And then have been able to watch online on YouTube, a lot of YouTube options for helping to organize the shop.
Okay.
So I built these benches. I started out with these 2 benches that are on wheels that literally can make one big long bench or one big square bench. And then I bought new tools and I'm like, okay, now I need more benches. So I made a new bench for this. I'm going to make a bench for that. We'd had the bookshelves that had been brought with us, and I bought my husband a whole new set of bookshelves. So those wound up being out here, and I was able to utilize them to help organize all of the paints and different things of that nature. I've moved things around, but then in the course of things, I've had to come up with more ways to store wood. So I've been buying these wood racks, which has helped enormously. And then I built a wood storage rack, as it were, because you know how we are. Just lots of little pieces that we always think we might need that, and we're not going to throw it away. So I had all this extra wood, and I'm like, I need more wood storage. Again, YouTube has been my friend. So I found a plan online to do that, put that together. It stores plywood on the back. It's got all the little stuff on the front, and then it's got spaces for the long stuff in the middle. Able to move things around, and I was able to put another rack of wood up here. So I've got my live edge up here. And I really, really enjoy working with live edge wood. Like, that's probably my favorite thing to play with.
Okay.
That and playing with fire. I have learned to be able to burn wood, and that's been really fun. I want to learn. There's this thing called fractal burning. I don't know if you guys have seen this, where they literally connect electrodes to the ends of wood, get the wood wet, and then they put electricity through it so it burns and does all of these really interesting patterns that you have no control over how they do it. I want to learn how to do that. That's my next thing that I really, really would like to learn. I know lots of friends who have said, that's really, really dangerous. I said, I know, they're letting me play with fire.
So I see you got your air filter up here.
Yes, my husband and I talked. The one thing about my husband is that he loves things for me to be safe and clean. And he'd like for me to make sure that everything's in good working order, which is why he's allowed me to buy the stuff that I bought, because I told him, this would make safer things, and this would make my room cleaner. So he said, yeah, let's get one of those. I may need a second one of those before it's all said and done. Went to Harbor and bought the pegboard pieces that I can use just to put stuff up there. Of course, having the freezer here has made things a little more challenging for me to get some of that upper stuff.
Right.
But for the most part, I've been able to use that pegboard. I actually have a standing one that I made, but I'm going to put it on wheels before I bring it out here.
And of course, more wood storage up there.
And more wood storage, which was there when we bought the place. But again, there's never enough wood storage as far as that and clamps. Brought my TV out here and was able to, because I like to watch stuff running in the background while I'm working. And then I needed something to put all the remotes on, so I built myself a little shelf and seen some ideas and went, I can do that. So I made myself a little shelf to put the remotes and stuff on, because the shop gets, obviously it's a garage.
Right.
So during the winter months, it gets stupid cold. And during the summer months, it gets really, really hot. So during the winter months, I've got some space heaters now. And then it got really, really too warm to work out here. So my husband allowed me to buy a standing air conditioner, which I vented through that door. And eventually we're going to insulate that door. Okay. We did insulate, there's a second garage door over there, and I wound up being able to insulate that because we didn't realize until I started moving those, because those shelves had been over here where all of this was, and I moved everything over there so I'd have room to put more storage up.
Okay.
But we had to insulate those doors because they were really hot.
Got your project list on the.
I've got my
on the
project
wall there?
list. I wound up buying myself a little board so I could stick it on the door, keep myself organized because things would fall through the cracks if I didn't. Because I kept having people going, "Hey Barb, I need this. Hey Barb, I need that." So I'm like, okay. And then gifts that I want to make for the grandkids. I'm working on a jewelry box for my grandchild. And then of course, the clamps, and I started purchasing more clamps, and then have discovered that really there is no such thing as too many clamps. So, but then I had all the clamps. I'm like, I got no clamp storage. So I had to build myself some clamp storage. And then I had to put a rack up to hold these things to get them out of the way because they were just taking up too much space. And then, of course, more wood storage because that is always a thing. This was actually my first wood one that I bought.
Okay.
And then I added that one and that one. So I just had to make more wall space. That was the piece. And then all of my tools, I'm trying to get them on cabinets where I can roll them and move them.
So tell us a little bit about your dust collection.
Oh, I'd seen online a dust separating thing. And so I had looked at how to clean working in a garage, I knew that I would need more dust collection and how to figure out how to do that without having to run everything all over the place. Because you've seen them, those shops where they have them, with the stop blasts and all of that. And I'm like, I'm not ready for that yet. That's way more work. But I'd seen these dust separators that helped, to maintain cleanliness and the filters in the shop vacs. And so I'd gone and I found this dust collection system. And then I'd seen a deal online where they had built a cart for it. And I went, I could do that. So I put this together. I kind of like the red and black look. So I have done everything kind of pretty much in red and black. But I wound up upgrading to a better shop vac. That was one of the little ones that I'd had, and it was too small. So I put this one in here instead. I'm going to fix that one up so I can just use it to vacuum the floor. Eventually, what I'd like, when we talked about needing more tools, one of the things I'd like is a better dust collection system. I've seen the bigger ones where they hang on the wall, and you can just literally, they're huge gallons worth of dust collection. That's really what I need. So that's been pretty good, but again, it's a shop. There's going to be plenty of dust. And then being able to get the dust, especially from the bigger tools. While this is good, it doesn't have the power really to do the dust collection off of these tools. Okay. And while, again, the Craftsman aren't bad because they're a beginner tool, the dust that comes off of them is ridiculous. And I don't know if every single one of those machines are going to be the same. Because I can put the dust collection system on that and I still have so much dust coming out of it. It's like ridiculous. That jewelry box is going to be the project that has to be done.
Take a look at that.
So the jewelry box is one that my granddaughter, she's 16 and she builds bracelets and stuff. So I had seen this design online and I decided that I didn't like these because they open up for stuff. So what I decided was to make this box and get rid of the wings and just make it so that they're going to be drawers all the way down. And I'm using Purple Heart for the drawers so that she'll have this wood I found at Plywood Company. And
what type of wood is that?
I thought it might be like the ambrosia maple, but somebody else said it was what they say was a kind of a yellow pine, or I don't know. I don't know what kind of wood it was. It was in the $5 pile, and it looked really interesting. So I thought, that looks good. And it looks a little like, because I have a whole pile of the ambrosia maple that I'm going to make a desktop for my husband. So this just worked out, and I'm going to, like I said, I got to put it together and then make the drawers for it. So that's the project that's going to be done this weekend.
Wonderful.
So
I see your lighting that you've got.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I started out, I put this up here to try and get more light in the room. And then I'd seen someone had done these kinds of lights. And I'm like, oh, I could do those. So I ordered a couple of those and hung them. And then my husband, bless his heart, had these remote systems. So I can turn them off and on without having to deal with finding the plugs and plugging, turning the plugs off and on. So these actually will help turn my lights off and on during the day. Right. And they're a remote system that works really, really great. And I really appreciate that. So that's been helpful. And then somebody else had mentioned using all of these magnetic things. So I bought a couple of them from Harbor, and I'm actually got a few more. So I'm putting them on my benches now so I can just
Right.
hang my tools so I have them available. That's been really helpful. As you can see, I've got one over here, and I've got 3 more of them down there. So they're going to go on these cabinets so I can put the clamps and the different wrenches and stuff on for my tools that I need.
Well, I appreciate your time today, Barbara.
Yeah.
And thank you for letting us tour your shop.
Yeah.
And
It's been great.
yeah, we'll let everyone in the club know that you're online and ready to go.
Yeah, I'm getting there.